Josh Hart to the
Woo,
New
big trade.
York Knicks. Let's go. For Cam Reddish. Boy, Cam Reddish is just being passed around like crazy. And a future first round pick. I assume this will be a protected pick to the Blazers. This is essentially a protected pick for Josh Hart. I'm not sure that the Blazers are going to throw Cam Reddish into their rotation trying to make the play in right now. But let's talk about it from the Knicks perspective. Dave DuFour, your thoughts?
Tom Thibodeau is going to absolutely love Josh Hart. Josh Hart
Yeah.
is a coach's dream type of player. You ask him to play the four, that's fine. He's only 6'5". He doesn't care. Run through a brick wall, no problem. The guy, he has forgotten how to shoot threes. Tom Thibodeau probably loves that. I mean, it's just, he is a basketball player and he is a gritty nose to the floor. I mean, he is just a perfect Tom Thibodeau guy that's going to play like 60 minutes a night. I think this is a
Yeah.
good pickup for them. He can really defend, smart player, pretty good connector, just does all that little stuff that you want out of a role player. He's just solid, super solid player. Good pickup for the Knicks.
Yeah, I like it. He is a Villanova player through and through. Like when you think Villanova player, Josh Hart is somebody that I think of because he can just do it all. Like he can handle a little bit, good passer, outstanding rebounder for his size. He's averaging 8 boards a game. Like this, you're right. Thibodeau's going to love him. He's going to play him 45 minutes a game.
It's going to be
And
great.
and they upgrade the Cam Reddish spot, which was just not being used at all. I think you add a very useful rotation player for the Knicks, who are currently in seventh. And man, they're tied right now with the Miami Heat. I think that you could see them passing the Heat. Like this team is just adding to their defense. He's a career 35% from three. And so if he can kind of rediscover that a little bit, I mean, if you remember when he got traded to Portland, he played 13 games for them at the end of the season last year. He was averaging 20 points a game. He was like 25 and 5 for the last like 13 games of the season. Now there was no pressure on him then. There's probably a lot of pressure on him now to perform. Uh, but I really like that pickup for them. And then for Portland, they get a first round pick. Perhaps they can use that to flip this pick even tomorrow, trying to bolster their roster a little bit. I do think trading away Josh Hart makes you a little bit worse. You wonder maybe they want to get in on this tank race. I'm not really sure where you go, like what the direction you go in. Um, but I think it was obvious that Josh Hart was not going to be a piece of their future. You get a first round pick for him. That's great. Whether you use that now or later, I think doesn't matter too much because I'm not sure that there's like a quick fix for the Blazers at this point. But what are your thoughts on the Blazers getting a first round pick for Hart?
It makes me think that they must have another deal lined up, or at least another deal in mind. This
Yeah,
pick, it would be a nice sweetener on something else. I know that they would love probably to upgrade on Nurk, who has just not been very good.
sure.
Barely moves out there playing defense. And I'm not sure if they can get in on Jakob Pertl or someone like that, but this pick is going to help them quite a bit. As far as Cam Reddish goes, I mean, at this point, this is two franchises kind of giving up on him to a certain degree. And this is a guy that I thought coming out of Duke was going to wind up being pretty good. And, he had flashes in Atlanta. He started to figure
Mm-hmm.
things out after his early foibles where he could not execute a spin move without losing the ball. And he just got a little bit better. And then the wheels sort of fell off. So you're right. This trade really was just for that pick. And I'm assuming that pick's going to be a sweetener. Maybe Cam Reddish is a guy that they could move on. The Lakers had some interest in him and maybe they want to look into, kicking the tires on him and bring in a young guy and you've got him in house and see if he can
I
blossom
think those
into
I
that
think those
potential.
tires will be kicked this summer. I think
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
he is
probably.
gonna stroll down to LA this summer. I
Yeah.
don't think that
He's got an
they
in. He knows a guy there. So
he's gonna figure it out. Yeah, the problem is like they already have wings they're developing there. Shaden Sharp, somebody that they're developing. Like they're not gonna prioritize him over Shaden Sharp. Even Keon Johnson, who I think is I like Keon Johnson. I like his potential. He's an athletic freak. I think he can do some stuff on the court. He's got to figure out some shooting, which he hasn't been terrible from deep, but just terrible everywhere else so far this season. I think that they should prioritize those guys first and then like make Cam prove it. Like let him get out on the court, see if he will do anything.
I wouldn't let him prove it this year. I mean, don't ruin your playoff hopes to try out Cam Reddish. It just doesn't make any sense to me for the Blazers. This is a guy, he should not be in their rotation when he shows up. He just should.
Yeah, he won't. He won't.
And so, yeah, it doesn't really help him out very much now. But I'm again, man, I'm thinking about that pick. I'm thinking about them being active in the trade market. I mean, we're under 24 hours now as we record this, left before the trade deadline, and having an extra pick. I mean, picks are valuable. We just saw the Jazz just picked up that pick, you know, with the intention to add to their asset collection. And so having a pick is better than not having a pick. And they were going to lose Josh Hart most likely anyway. So this is a good move for them, even if it's just forward thinking, even if it's not for this year, which frankly, most franchises should be doing things that are forward thinking rather than just for this year. You don't have a top 5, top 7 talent on your roster. You don't have 2 guys top 15. You're not winning a title most likely. So, you know, when you make these sorts of moves that are on the margins, you need that flexibility. So I think it's a great move for Portland, and for the Knicks, man, they get a player who can play. And that's pretty big for a team that's going to the playoffs.
Yeah. And so the pick is lottery protected in 2023. It's a first round pick that turns into 4 future second round picks if it does not convey. So this will be the Knicks pick at this draft as long as they're in the playoffs. And I think Josh Hart helps that. And if you're the Blazers, this is one I would not flip. This is one that I hold on to. This next draft is a really good one.
Very deep.
And so hold on to that. Maybe you can even trade it at the draft when the value builds a little bit, because I think once teams dig into this draft, they're going to really like it. And so they can either pick a player to come in and help them for the future, or they can even trade it at the draft. So I would expect them to hold on to this one, as it was just reported by ESPN that it is a lottery protected pick that will either convey this year, or if everything falls apart for the Knicks, it becomes 4 future second round picks. So very, very interesting deal for the Trailblazers. I like that value for Josh Hart, and I like it for the Knicks. I think this is overall a good trade. Stay locked in to The Athletic as we continue to break down these trades as they come in.